Our top story on World DNA this morning, a divided Colorado Supreme Court has declared Donald Trump ineligible for the White House under the U.S. Constitution's insurrection clause.
Well, the court has removed the former U.S. president from the state's presidential primary ballot. The move sets up a likely showdown now in the nation's highest court, the Supreme Court of the U.S., to decide whether the frontrunner for the Grand Old Party nomination can remain in the race. Now, the decision marks the first time in history that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment has been used to disqualify a presidential candidate. The justices of the court were all appointed by Democratic governors, as was noted by Trump's camp.
Colorado's highest court overturned a ruling from a district court judge who found Trump incited an insurrection for his role in the 2021 attack on the Capitol, but said he could not be barred from the ballot because it was unclear that the provision was intended to cover the presidency. Trump's attorneys had promised to appeal any disqualification immediately to the nation's highest court, which has the final say about constitutional matters.
Trump lost Colorado by 13 percentage points in 2020 and does not need the state really to win next year's presidential election. But the danger for the former president is that more courts and election officials can follow Colorado's lead and exclude Trump from must-win states.
For more on this, we're now being joined by political analyst John Christopher, live from Washington, D.C. Welcome to the show, sir.
Lovely to be with you on this rather chilly night here in our nation's capital.
Lovely to have you as well, sir. Now, sir, of course, as you know, Trump has been barred from Colorado's primary election ballot. What would you say are the practical implications of this?
Well, we'll see how it goes if it goes to the Supreme Court, and that will be decided in March. And remember a very important thing. Less than 4 weeks we are less than 4 weeks from the Iowa primaries, the Iowa caucuses, which will determine on a large scale which Republican candidate will look like he's moving ahead. And we'll see what happens there. But, you know, it's an interesting thing. The gentleman talked about the 14th Amendment, Clause 3. The Constitution says no person shall be a senator, representative of Congress, or elected president, vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States and under the state, who have previously taken an oath, a member of Congress, to be accused or have been involved in insurrection. And that's what this court is saying, that they take it very seriously that on January 6th, Donald Trump was involved in insurrection to take over the United States. Now, it'll be tricky. It'll be back and forth. But the fact is, this is not a plus for Donald Trump. We have so many other woes going on, and we'll see what happens. But we've got the campaign is moving ahead. I'm sure we'll be talking about that down the road. But Iowa is in less than 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And after that is New Hampshire. And we're in a very hot and contested political season. So we shall see.
Mr. Bua, now Iowa, New Hampshire, the two states, of course, that you just mentioned, there are several other states as well. What impact can this decision in Colorado have on the other states for Trump?
It has an enormous impact because voters will be looking. Now, of course, the Trump disciples, those who are pledged to Trump, no matter what he did, as he said, I can shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, I'll still be elected. Those people will be rock solid for Trump. But there are people who are swing voters who may have voted for Trump last time, who are sick and tired of his shenanigans and say, well, wait a minute, wait a second. This guy is not holding up. And Joe Biden is actually looking pretty good right now, no matter what they say about him.
Right, sir. Of course. Now, we've seen that Donald Trump has been embroiled in a plethora of legal cases as well. Yet we see that when it comes to polls and opinion polls, he is still the Republican front runner. So how do you think he will fare going forward? Because as you said, he does have some very solid backing by his supporters as well.
Well, you know, when he does these things, and he was in Iowa tonight. Now, this is going to be great. Everybody who remembers Napoleon and the Battle of Waterloo, just ironically, Trump was in Waterloo, Iowa tonight. Now, this could be a day that can be considered Trump's Waterloo. So whether or not he survives, we shall see. But it makes it very interesting. It also makes it very gut-wrenching for the American populace to be seeing this kind of thing. And I think we're all holding our breaths, and hopefully people are getting out there and expressing how they feel at the polls.
Mr. Bua, I just want to take one more question with you. Now, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, we have spoken about that. You mentioned it as well. Do courts have the authority to enforce this section without congressional action?
That is a very interesting question. And it seems that the Supreme Court, if it goes to the Supreme Court, if they choose to take this issue, it will Trump, excuse the pun, or precedent, and they will make the ruling, and Trump will be out in Colorado. Whether the other states decide, wait a minute, although Michigan has decided against it, they decided to keep Trump on the ballot. So each state, we have 50 states here. I know you know very well our nation and how it works, our federalist policies. We have 50 states, and are we going to go through every single state between now and Election Day to see if Trump remains on the ballot? I don't know, but it sure keeps what I do very interesting indeed.
All right, Mr. John Christopher Bua, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you.